Oh, happy Saturday, everybody. Hope y'all are doing all right today. I hope you guys are doing well. Listen, it has been a few weeks since we've gone live on Instagram, but been putting out a lot of content on Instagram, a lot of content on the YouTube channel. Keep everybody engaged, keep everybody educated, and overall just spreading more freedom literacy. That's pretty much what it's all about. Trying to drop as much content as possible and share this information. I understand that everybody's journey is very unique as it pertains to freedom literacy, but especially with the month of May being underway, I think it's really important to audit where you are in your financial goals and what you're trying to achieve, and essentially assessing where you want to go. I'd look at the beginning of each month as a new beginning. I also look at the beginning of each day as a new beginning, right? Like, you can literally make every day a day to start something new to be better. But especially now with May being underway, I think it's an important time ahead of the mid-year mark to assess where you are, assess what those goals are that you may have had on your vision board at the beginning of the year or going into the new year, and just assessing what you're trying to accomplish. Let's kind of kick things off with understanding what freedom literacy looks like, right? When I look at freedom literacy, especially as it pertains to the month of May, the first thing that I would do is assess every single thing that you spent money on in the month of April. And a lot of people will say, well, Jordan, like, how should I start? Like, how can I do this? How can I effectively assess my expenses in an efficient way? One thing that really works is really downloading the PDF or the Excel version of all of your expenses for the month of April. If you are able to go through those expenses for the past month and look at what you spent, that's a great place to start in terms of understanding what you need to do going forward in the month of May and beyond. I think a lot of people will quickly think about making money and saying, hey, I want to go trade, I want to go sell this, I want to do options, I want to buy crypto, I want to buy Bitcoin, I want to invest in real estate, but they don't even understand how to be better stewards of what they actually are earning now. And half the time, a lot of people they're making decent money, they're just not like understanding how to budget their money properly. So that's why I always like to say, if you're trying to really begin freedom literacy for yourself and to be active and deliberate about the decisions that you want to make going forward this month and beyond, look at everything that you spent in the past month. Download that PDF or download the Excel version and literally categorize and bucket all of those expenses based off of entertainment, transportation, gas. You could have them by fixed and variable expenses. So a fixed expense may be like your rent that you pay every single month, or parking. You have to pay for rent. You have to pay for parking. You have to pay for groceries. But a variable expense may be like, okay, well, this month I was traveling because I was going to a wedding, and I also went out to eat when I was traveling. So that would be a variable expense. If you can categorize those expenses in the past month of April into what were fixed expenses and variable expenses to give yourself an idea of what you spent in the month of April, that will be your foundation. And essentially what you'll do is you should go back to maybe March and February and look at those months as well. And then that will give you a nice picture of how much you've spent over the past couple months to allow you to be able to assess and build a plan going forward that you can stick to. I think oftentimes people want to jump the gun and they want to then go and say, I want to make more money, but they're not understanding how they're spending the money that they currently have and understanding how to budget in an effective way. Once you do that, you're going to be in a really good position to be able to take the extra money that you're saving and budgeting by having that plan to invest. But until you understand what's going in what's coming in and what's going out, it's going to be very difficult for you to do that. So that's a really great place to start in terms of how you can march towards freedom literacy for the month of May. Secondly, I would look at your credit card debt. Now, some people may not have credit card debt. Some people may have credit card debt. I believe that if you get rid of credit card debt, you will be able to, one, unlock a lot of investing potential for yourself, but also you'll be able to give yourself something that I like to call like a 20% raise. If you have a credit card balance that's paying a 20% APR, right, you're able to give yourself a boost. Instead of paying the bank interest on the credit card, like work on a very methodical way to get rid of the credit card debt. And this best way to get rid of the credit card debt is by understanding what's coming in through your income and what's going out with your expenses. If you're budgeting and then able to eliminate the credit card debt, that those two combinations will allow you to unlock more future growth for yourself in the month of May and then going forward for the rest of the year. If you are literally doing that, not only are you able to unlock growth for yourself, but what you do is you automate those expenses. You automate those initiatives and things that you're investing in. So to the point where you're not even thinking about it. So for me personally, that's how I like to manage my finances. I make sure that every single month, whatever I'm spending on bills is coming out of my credit card and I pay it off every single month. I'm going to use the bank's money to pay my bills, and I'm going to invest as much of my money as possible while maximizing my growth. I'll repeat that. I'm using the bank's money, the credit card, to pay my bills, but I'm paying it off every month, so I'm not paying interest, and I'm maximizing the money that I'm earning from my job by buying assets. So that may be saving in Bitcoin. That may be contributing to my 401k to get my match. That may be investing in my business, right? And other endeavors and things that I do. But I'm always thinking about, okay, how can I put myself in a position to be better off to have more assets this month than I did last month, and do that over and over again. But I'm not going to pay the bank interest, because why would I do that, right? And I think a lot of times what unfortunately ends up happening, and it happens to people, right? Like, you are not having an understanding of your expenses, and maybe you're overspending on the credit card because the cost of everything is going up in general. So you're spending the credit card and like, oh, you know what? Like, I'm going to go use a credit card to go get this thing and pay for this ticket to this concert, and I'll pay it off eventually. But you don't realize how interest compounds in the negative, like compounding on debt. Interest can compound for you in a positive way by you having assets that are compounding, but it can also start to really dig you into a hole and you get in the negative with credit card debt. And literally you have to get back to square zero to even be able to start building on top of that. But it's not impossible, right? The other thing to keep in mind is that you can still pay down credit card debt and work to eliminate it, even also, investing in your future and investing in assets. A lot of people think it has to be one or the other, right? You can strategically set yourself up to pay off credit card debt and pay down on credit card debt and still be able to allocate money to a savings for yourself, or allocate money to maybe get your 401k match. Or if you want to go buy Bitcoin, whatever it is, a lot of times people will say, well, no, like I have the credit card debt and I'm not going to do anything else. And then they also end up not even paying off the credit card debt. They just have more money that they're using and they're spending it all. So it all just depends. If you have a certain amount of money to the side that you know you've saved and you can just use that to go eliminate the credit card debt, that's a smart thing. Because why would I want to pay interest that's like 20% APY on this like big bunch of money if I have money to go get rid of the credit card debt, and then I can literally just start investing more and more money into assets that are compounding for me and compounding interest on the upside, not in the negative in the whole. So the two things so far that I've gone through is understanding your budget, understanding what comes in and what goes out. If you do that for the month of May and look back in April, March, and February at some of those expenses, that will set you up to be in a good position to march towards freedom literacy for the month of May and beyond. Second topic, the credit card debt. Understanding that eliminating credit card debt, having a plan at least that's essentially feeding directly into your budget to be able to get rid of the credit card debt, will allow you to then be able to reallocate money, not to adding more interest and adding more debt to your balance if you have a balance, but you're using that extra money to go buy more assets. You want your assets to be working for you, period. At the end of the day, that's going to be key. And right now, what we're seeing with the cost of everything going up, and it's going to continue to go up. We've got war, we've got energy shortages, we've got gas prices through the roof, and all those costs are going to be passed on to the consumer. So that's why it's very important to keep this stuff in mind. It's very important to kind of stay on top of it, because at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save us. And nobody's coming to save you. So the more that you can like be very adamant and deliberate about the decisions that you want to make, the better off you'll be. Don't compare your race to someone else's. Don't compare your chapter 10 or your chapter 1, to someone else's chapter 10. Run your own race. Understand that whatever decision you make today, May 2nd, 2026, to be better for yourself is going to go a long way. A lot of times people get caught up in what they see on social media, what other people are doing, what other people have, or they just kind of think, well, I can never do this. No, literally start with whatever you can afford, whatever you can do to get rid of that debt, whatever you can invest to go save in Bitcoin, whatever you can do to go, maybe invest in your kid's college fund to help your future and help the people around you that you care about. If you do those things, you'll be better off. So that's another key. Budget, eliminating that credit card by being strategic, and also running your own race. Those are really important factors because throughout that whole process, like I said, you don't want to compare. Run your own race, be deliberate on what you want. And I think that that's going to really set you up for a lot of success in the month of May and beyond. So I'll pause there if anybody has any questions. I appreciate everybody who's listening in and tuning in. But if you guys have any questions about anything that I'm sharing, just drop them into the comment box. Like I said, this is really for y'all. Like I said, I'm really just here trying to help you guys be able to understand how you can take steps, deliberate steps to help yourself be able to march towards your goals. Because at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in incremental progress, but also in the idea that you can do anything you really put your mind to. And for me, right, like I like to share information, very passionate about it through what we do with Sent Me. And I've been doing this and sharing information since I was in college. And I've watched people who have told me directly about stuff that they listened or they applied based off of some of the insights and education I've shared over the years, but also people who later I didn't even know that they were following. They will send messages and say that they actually that information resonated well with them, and it allowed them to save their first $10,000 in their investment account, or they crossed $100,000 in their 401k or whatever it is, or they've been stacking Bitcoin and they've been really understanding hard money and why the denominator matters, as hard money is essentially going to protect you from inflation and protect you from monetary debasement. That's what it's all about. So I'm not going to stop sharing this information. I'm not going to stop putting up this information and sharing it with you guys, because at the end of the day, I know that any piece of information could go a long way. Even if one person or two people gather an insight from these lives and the information that we're sharing on the Sent Me platform, we know that we're doing something that's actually changing people's lives fundamentally. So shout outs to you guys for even being here, always attending, always asking questions, and like I say, being engaged is very key. There's a lot going on in the markets right now. The volatility, the manipulation of markets from insiders, how the war, and one day there's going to be negotiations and agreements with Iran, and then the next day the president comes out and says something that's completely off base. They're like, oh yeah, no, we're going to end up dropping bombs, or we're going to eliminate nuclear threats, whatever it is. At the end of the day, all this stuff, real people are getting hurt, obviously, but it's market manipulation to the highest level. Now, you have to understand how to block out that noise. A lot of people, they will get caught up and psyoped into doing things that are detrimental to them, trying to gamble on quick hits, trying to gamble on meme coins, trying to gamble on stocks, random stocks that they don't even know about, because you saw something on Twitter about somebody saying that this is a buy. And there are literally all these forces around you trying to distract you and extract all your money from you to destroy your focus and prevent you from being fortified to understand what's truth and what's literally a lie. So at the end of the day, a lot of people, they may know what the lies are. They think the half truths are the truth, and they don't even know what's real and what's actually true. That's mad important. I think it's very important to understand what's truth and what's half truth, because a lot of people who will manipulate you, they understand that what they're sharing with you is a half truth, but they will use what a half truth is and share that information with you, and it'll be to your detriment. Versus you have to be able to discern to understand the truth. You have to go do the knowledge. There's no substitute for hard work. There's no substitute to studying and understanding fundamentally what's going on. Everything that I'm sharing with y'all, you should go fact check everything I'm saying. Ask AI everything, or ask ChatGPT. Go use Grok. I don't know. Go read something. Go literally Google some of the stuff I'm sharing about freedom literacy. What I just shared about budgeting. What I shared about eliminating credit card debt. What I shared about how it's important to have compound interest and how compound interest can help you to kind of have your assets accumulate and grow, or compounding interest that compounds negatively because you're compounding debt. Like, literally, go back check everything I'm saying. Don't just take what I'm saying as truth. But at the end of the day, it's important for you to have discernment on your own regard, because there's a lot of people that may say things and they don't even know what the truth is. So it's important. So we got a comment. Only if you knew. Appreciate you, bro. I'm just trying to pay down credit debt. Any tips? So honestly, one of the tips that I would definitely say with credit card debt is this. And I've encouraged a bunch of people that we work with through our like semi program and like educating them on some of this stuff. But here's a specific tip that you could actually apply to yourself like today. I would look at all the credit card debt that you have, and I would look at the credit card debt that has the highest interest and what the balance is. You may have credit card debt. Say you have like $1,000 worth of credit card debt, hypothetically. And let's say your $1,000 credit card debt is spread between like 2 cards. And let's say on one card, you have $750 of credit card debt, and the other one, you have $250 worth of credit card debt. But the $250 credit card debt may have like a 30% interest. But the $750 one may have like 15% interest. If you go look at the one that has the lower balance but has the higher interest, you can attack that one first, because that one has such high interest that the compounding of the debt and the interest you're paying on the balance, even though it's smaller, can grow and surpass the $750 one that has like 15% interest. So to kind of bring that back around full circle, I would look at all the credit card debt that you have and look at the balances that have the highest interest, and then like try to attack that one first, because you can eliminate that compounding effect that becomes snowballing into a lot more. It's called like the snowball method, or snowball method for eliminating credit card debt. It works really well. And I've helped people who've had some credit card debt like literally eliminate that in that way. That'll help. But I think also taking a step back is looking at how much money you're spending. Because if you understand like your budget and what you're spending, like you may be overspending more than you realize, even if it's on the margin. Like, you know, you could find maybe an extra $300 that you're spending per month that can go to eliminating that credit card debt faster. If you combine those two tips, eliminating that like high interest credit card debt with the small balance, and budgeting and knowing where you're leaking, like where money's leaking out, you can get rid of that credit card debt. And as a result, you can then go buy more Bitcoin, you go buy whatever you want, buy assets, and set yourself up, bro. Because at the end of the day, with summers coming, this is what happens to a lot of people. They end up really forcing it in the summer. And they're like, yo, like I'm going to brunch, I'm going out, I'm going vacation. Have fun for sure. I'm not saying don't have fun. Don't spend your money on things that you want to do, but never at the expense of your future. I'll repeat that. I'm all for having fun. All for having fun. I literally was hanging out with some friends yesterday and it was a great time, but not at the expense of my future. So because I'm paying myself first and investing in my future, and I'm budgeting and I'm investing in assets, I literally don't have a problem having fun. But when you start having fun to the point where you're digging yourself in a big hole, that's when you end up setting yourself up for more issues than it's even worth. So I hope that only if you knew, I hope that helped you, bro. And listen, if you have any more questions, let me know. But I think those two things will make a big difference. I think a lot of people, they sometimes underestimate how important a budget is, and they don't really understand about like kind of attacking the interest on the, attacking that high interest. It helps. Exactly. Like trying not to knock out my debt before I start investing. No, like, I mean, listen, man, like it's all depends on personal preference. Like at the end of the day, I would never tell you what to do, but I would tell you that if you decide that you want to invest a little bit, I don't know how much credit card debt you have, but at the end of the day, like if you have a very strict plan that you know you can stick to, where you have allocated a certain amount of money that's coming in to be able to like knock the credit card debt off, the one thing you can't get back is time. So at the end of the day, even if you invest $100 a month, right, or $50 a month, that's going to go a long way because it's going to get you in the habit of paying yourself first, even though you know you're attacking that credit card debt. Because at the end of the day, you will end up maybe missing out on the time and value of money, of your money working for you in those assets, whether it's you buying a stock or you're buying, you could be people who save in Bitcoin, whatever it is, like, especially like if you're dollar cost averaging into like, I don't know, an index fund, hypothetically, even though you know you're knocking off your credit card debt, if you have 6 months to literally eliminate credit card debt, but you're still able to budget some money that you're investing in assets for yourself and not speculating. I'm not talking about gambling, right? Like I'm talking about literally like dollar cost averaging into really, really good assets for yourself. That will still set you up even while you're getting rid of the credit card debt. So like I said, it all comes down to personal preference, but I could tell you for a fact that every single person that like has been in the Sent Me program and stuff that people we've worked with, they've eliminated credit card debt, but they've maximized their investments too at the same time. So it wasn't like one or the other. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to, you knowing yourself and knowing what your goals are. Like I said, the information, obviously, I know you said, you appreciate the information, but like you said, it all comes down to personal preference. I just don't want you to get caught up in the mindset of thinking that like, by you investing in the assets, you could honestly, sometimes people like surpass their debt in a very, very like methodical time frame, and they still got rid of the debt, and then they literally have, $10,000 invested in some asset. And then they got rid of the credit card debt, but that 10,000 then the next year is compounded, so now that 10,000 turned into 15,000, right? And then it's just kind of snowball from there. And then it's like a good exercise. It kind of makes you feel like, yo, you know what? My money's still working for me. I'm getting rid of this credit card debt, but my money is working for me on overdrive. So, yeah, man, like keep up the great work. Like I said, it's great that you are good at budgeting and that you're knocking off the credit card debt, and you know that you want to invest and you want to start investing more. So I think that those tips should fare you well. I know they fared well for a lot of the people that I've helped and my team and that we've helped along the way. So keep up the great work, bro. But yeah, like it's going to get crazy. I think it's just going to get more expensive, like around here. It's going to get more expensive with gas. It's going to get more expensive with food. Like I said, as gas and oil and everything is high, all those costs get passed through to the consumer. And as a result, people are going to be stretched thinner and thinner. So the more, like you said, you're getting rid of credit card debt and eliminating it altogether, the better off you are going to be, because you're going to be in a position where you're not going to be stacking more debt as things get more expensive. You're actually going to be getting rid of the debt while investing in yourself. And then when you have no debt, you'll be investing even more in yourself, and your money will be working for you, because they're going to just essentially have to print so much money to bail out all these different industries that are stretched thin, because we're like in the midst of a debt crisis, because we have so much debt. Like the debt is like 39 trillion and rates have to come down. And the only way rates come down is if more bonds and more money is infused into the system. So when more money is infused in the system and interest rates come down, that means risk assets like stocks, Bitcoin, gold, whatever, they're going to go up in value. But that's the difference between hard money and currency, because at the end of the day, something can go up denominated in dollars, but if those dollars buy you less because your dollars are being devalued, are you better off or are you worse off? Versus the people that have gold, or they may have Bitcoin, like one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin and one gold coin is one gold coin. But because you can't print them out of thin air, it takes less hard money to buy things that you need in the future. That's why the denominator matters, and why I wear the shirt and why I made the shirts. It's because I'm like, hey, if you can understand the problem, you can appreciate solutions that exist. But you can't really appreciate that stuff until you understand fundamentally like how this entire system is working. What's the Sent Me program cost on Advantage? I would love to invest in the information when I'm able to. Yeah, bro, shoot me a DM, man. I can give you some information on that. Like, we've got different programs and different things that we do. Actually, funny enough, we have a live Sent Me live like teaching cohort that we're gonna be putting out. So, there's gonna be pretty much like aiming at maybe 5 people, maybe 10 maximum, and I'll be teaching live for 4 weeks. That'll be a flat cost, so I could send that to you directly. Maybe like a couple $100 or whatever for that, and then people can learn. But we also have like different tiers, like a community group. We have also our silver tier, which gives people access to community group and one of our other courses to learn, like watching videos. But I think that the live experience is really great. We've done that plenty of times in the past with cohorts of people, usually like 7 to 10 people. But it's awesome because the people get to understand live, like how I'm talking, understand what this stuff means, be able to talk through the experience. And honestly, it's just a great networking experience for people to network amongst other individuals that are in the cohort too. It's just really great learning. So I can send that information to you, bro. And like I said, whenever you're available or whenever you have time and you want to do it, or maybe you're like, yo, you know what? I want to check it out. Would love to have you. But at the end of the day, I appreciate you asking that question because, like I said, as you get more well equipped and people understand this information, you have more tools in your toolbox to be able to go out here and be able to discern between like what's real, what's not. And at the end of the day, like I said, there's people who are like, yo, Jordan, I really just want to like dollar cost average into index funds. I don't have any much debt. I may want to maximize some other investment accounts, this, that, and the third, and they're killing it. And there's other people that are like, yo, like Jordan, I want to go even deeper into understanding this aspect of hard money, understanding like gold, Bitcoin, this type of stuff. And that's what they want to do and kind of help guide them along the way to understand what this stuff means. But like I said, everybody's freedom literacy journey is unique to them. So that's why, like I said, applied knowledge is power. Most people say like knowledge is power, but if you're not really applying it or doing anything with it, like it's kind of hard to really like change. But, if you're consistent, which, like I said, I feel like everybody that's watching this and everybody that will watch this recording, you should be fine because like you actually are seeking knowledge. You're like seeking information and you're trying to learn. So yeah, bro, definitely DM me and we could, I could get you some information on that. Would love to have you. And like I said, share any insight, resources that we have to kind of help you along the way, bro, because like I said, this information is very important. So, but listen, everybody, I appreciate everybody that has tuned in. Like I said, definitely share the recording with others. I'll probably be going live again in a week or so. Got some new videos on YouTube if y'all want to check it out. You could just click the link in our bio, or you could definitely just go on YouTube and just type in Sent Me. But appreciate everybody. Appreciate y'all for always tuning in, showing love, asking great questions. And yeah, listen, if you want to learn more about our live cohort that's coming up, got a couple spots left, so would love to have you. And we will be taking this to the next level to continue to help people navigate along their path to freedom literacy. So talk to y'all soon. God bless. Let's go.